Let's have a little look.
London, which you'll have fond memories of.
Oh, I
Still
mean,
quite pristine. I don't know
it's
what.
in great
yours-
condition.
Yeah. Managed to keep those ones quite good.
And they're so big as well, aren't they? Like everyone's always like, they're so heavy and they're so big.
Well, London were the first ones to do that type of medal, weren't they?
Yeah, they were always like this big before, like so
know.
tiny.
I feel like that's what an Olympic medal should be like. It should be
Yeah,
massive, shouldn't it?
weighty.
Yeah.
But this was the start, really, wasn't it, for you, for your kind of Olympic journey? And
Mm.
in a way, do you feel that a bronze medal was the right way to start your Olympic campaign? I mean, obviously you'd love a gold, but do you feel that it set you up for the next few Olympics?
100%. I think bronze was a really, really good medal to get for me. Like, of course, any medal is amazing, but I think because it was bronze, I think like what you're saying there, it really kind of geared me up to the next steps. I think, I think that was the perfect scenario because we won the team bronze. So I think that's the team one there. So that's my first ever one. So we won a team medal, and that was a crazy shock for everyone.
Yeah.
And almost changed our sport in our country, which was crazy to be a part of that and very, very surreal. But what it done was actually I had a pommel horse final coming up, and it just completely took pressure off me. I just got our team medal that I thought was a kind of a dream that was in, if it ever happened, of having my own Olympic medal, and I'd done it.
Yeah.
And we'd done it as a team. And for me, going to pommel horse final, I could just enjoy it. Like
And do you think that being relaxed and just
yeah,
no tension, no stress, and just being in the moment really helped you in that performance?
Yeah, and I think London taught me that.
Yeah.
I think it taught me some massive lessons to move forwards from, because it taught me that mindset going into that pommel horse final was like, just go give my best shot, stay chilled, enjoy it, and just whatever happens, happens. And to have that kind of chilled mindset, I learned actually, I just competed the best routine I'd done, and it's come out with a bronze medal. So I need to just try and click into that mindset every single time I compete. But also I've just competed in front of home crowd, which was absolutely nuts, especially I can imagine in your arena when you're talking about 8,000 people.
Yeah.
Like in our arena, it was crazy, and it definitely weren't 80,000 people, but it was a lot. And I remember the crowd just cheering. It turned into like this constant raw sound. There was no like fluctuating or cheering or anything. It was just like this raw. And I felt like if I can compete under this, then hopefully I can do it anywhere. So it just completely set me up. And the bronze medal just gave me kind of like real kind of fire to then think, okay, my next steps are to increase that.
And then obviously, so Rio was a fantastic Olympics for you. And obviously I was out there as well and, saw your performances and all around Team GB. It's such an amazing feeling, isn't it? I know obviously you compete in a team as well, but I think for a lot of the sports where you're very individual, that's the first time you really come together as Team GB, and it's such an inspiring environment to be in, seeing the likes of yourself and everyone else picking up medals and creating history.
Yeah, I almost find it like a lot of people ask that, don't they? Like what the Olympic Village is like, and it's almost so strange, really, when you think about it. Like the amount of like you got the best athletes in the world all in one place. And like when you say Team GB, we have our own block that comes together and everyone's just mixing, but almost really kind of on track to sticking to their schedules, and you almost have to tread carefully, I feel like, because someone might have a competition that evening or anything like that. So I almost feel like it's a real kind of amazing kind of overwhelming atmosphere that you have to be really kind of delicate with.
And not get distracted as well, I find, because you can get swept away quite easily, whether that's, you go to the dining hall and you're just bumping into all these random athletes, and there's that temptation of, just, have a leisurely lunch and end up chatting, but you've got to rest and you've got to make sure that you're prepared in the best way. But there's so many things going on in the village.
So many. And then you want to explore, but you don't want to do too much walking. And then it's like, it's really hard to kind of figure that out. Especially when you're talking about kind of your first kind of experience of Olympic Games. But to be honest, each one, it kind of, that excitement kind of never stops, does it, in terms of wanting to see the village and wanting to do this and wanting to do that. But yeah, being able to kind of just be really kind of conscious of just settling down and actually just thinking recovery training, like sticking to routine. I think that's what's really important that I found, is almost just trying to be consistent with everything.
And what you're here for.
Yeah, no matter what your environment is, whether it's a hotel room, whether it's an Olympic Village, or whether it's your home, I almost try to keep it really consistent. but it was tough.
You know those mornings when you wake up and you feel like you've barely slept. Maybe your partner's been tossing and turning. Maybe you were too warm, or maybe your mattress has just seen better days. Sleep is where your body rebuilds, your mind resets, and those golden moments are made possible. That's why I've partnered with Simba. Their hybrid mattress is designed with cutting-edge technology to keep you cool, supported, and undisturbed through the night, so you can sleep deeper and recover better. With over 350,000 five-star reviews and more than 100 sleep awards, you can trust that Simba really are the experts in great sleep. So if you've been waking up achy, tired, or just not feeling at your best, maybe it's time to upgrade your mattress. With a 200-night risk-free trial and free next-day delivery, better sleep could literally be at your doorstep tomorrow. Shop at simbasleep.com/goldmines. It is tough. Yeah. It is tough. Yeah, so after Rio, you obviously would have had some time off, and then you've got to get your head back in the game again and start focusing for another Olympic cycle. I imagine that was quite a tough few years going into Tokyo, and COVID as well to deal with.
Yeah, it was thinking back, just a whirlwind kind of Olympic cycle, really. And if we think about kind of the time off, so after London, I had 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
After Rio, I had 3 months off, completely out of gym. So it's almost like extended as I got older. And I stepped back in, and basically the reason why I took that time out was just because I wanted to be itching to get back in, like that motivation to be at the highest point it could be. And then I go back in. So I give it time, and I'm patient with that. So it took me 3 months, and I went back in, and that motivation was incredible in terms of helping me get and kind of set targets, get to where I wanted to be and stuff. But then, we're talking kind of like stepping into COVID years, going through the World Championships, going through all these kind of steps, and then you go and big news, and the Olympics might not be going ahead. COVID's in, everyone's in lockdown, you're kind of managing all these things. It was really, really, really strange. And I was one of these athletes that, kind of when Olympics was kind of wondering if it's going ahead or if it's not going ahead, I was one of these athletes that was like, well, I need to prepare if it is. Like, that's my mindset. I almost didn't want to hear that it wasn't, or hear any kind of thing that kind of said that, because if you relaxed, it was like, it's almost done. If you check out of it, it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the strangest thing as an athlete, a sports person, and I know you've got your mask there to show us, but you, like, the one consistency is that your championships is always there, isn't it? It always stays in the same place. The thought of the Olympics not being where it's supposed to be is not anything you would even comprehend. No. And then everything just changed, and I was obviously retired at that stage, so I was on the sidelines thinking, gosh, thank goodness I've retired. Like, this must be so hard to navigate as an athlete.
Yeah, and I think it was even harder for the athletes that maybe were thinking about Tokyo being their last one.
Yeah.
Like, that's awful, because they were probably absolutely praying it would go ahead, because then they would have a really big decision to make, whether they just stop. Yeah. And it's just like a not very nice ending to a career, or they try and push on for another 4 years after that. So it's really hard. And I remember just being in lockdown, and just feels weird even talking about lockdown now, to be honest. I had my pommel horse in the garden. It was pretty dangerous, if I'm really honest. It was just over the concrete.
Really? Over the concrete?
I didn't really have anything.
You make sure you get it absolutely right. There are no mistakes on the concrete.
Exactly. But I think I wanted to keep it up, because my mindset, Olympics was going ahead. So I was training in the garden, doing bits and bobs, just trying to tick over. And then, then it said it was delayed, but it was still going ahead. And that was a huge relief. And
what was your mindset like, though, at that time? Were you just fully... your head was in it, you were preparing, you were ready for it, or did it waver at all? Did you find it like mentally hard to prepare in that way?
Mentally hard, but everyone was in the same boat. Like, mentally hard, physically hard, but it was the situation we was in. And I remember being like, throughout the kind of build up as we was going into it, like I was so ready, and that's really hard as an athlete, to like start your build up and be like in really good shape, and then it'd be pushed back like a year. It was really, really difficult. I think for your mindset, it's just navigating that. I almost was going through stages where I was like really strict now, like I can't think about it, not going ahead, all this stuff, and I've got to stay like structured, and got to stay everything. But also times where I just had to sit back and actually just think, maybe just try not to be too hard on yourself. And I was going through, like, it was up and down constantly.
But if your body's ready as well, it's that fine line, isn't it, between being your absolute peak performance and physically ready, and then you just picking up an injury because you're just having to push along a little bit further than you'd anticipated. And they're all things that you can't really control.
No, and I think that was hard. That was what was hard, completely out of control, all of it. And I think that kind of, like, section of, like, inconsistency, it had a huge impact on my Tokyo Olympics, huge impact. Like, the build-up, when it come round to the actual proper build-up, the delayed build-up, I wasn't in as good a shape as I was previously. There's no doubt about it. And almost went into Tokyo one of the least consistent as kind of my routines go, and successful routines in training, probably the least consistent I've been for any competition. And that was really difficult because, you know, I always kind of find myself in a pattern where I go through a build up and I'm preparing for a comp, and there's always this stressful period where I feel like I'm not going to be ready, and it's coming around too quick. I always have done it, and I've never kind of even learned to kind of just chill and trust the process. Never learned that throughout my whole career, and it happened every single time. But that time it was just amplified massively, and it was tough.
You know, being able to win one Olympic gold medal is just the most incredible thing anyway, and it's something that I'm so proud of. But to be able to consistently come back and physically get your body ready, but mentally get your body ready and your mind ready and perform around all the other things that were going on with COVID, and you delivered again. How did you feel coming out of Tokyo?
It was an interesting one, because I felt on top of the world. I just retained an Olympic title, even though, like, I knew, like, as I was coming down to land that routine, I so clearly, my memory's awful, but I really, really clearly remember just thinking, I can't believe I just done that. And then I landed, and just, I was first man up. There was 7 more people to go after me, and I thought I'd done my job. I'd done it. Who knows if it comes out with gold or not, but I'd done what I could. When it came out with gold, of course, like, as you can imagine, the feelings was amazing, and it was kind of surreal in an empty kind of arena with no audiences. It was really, really strange dynamic to manage. But getting home, the feeling was amazing. I've always been one of these athletes that, you know, I hear about athletes that really struggle, and they kind of like go through a massive kind of dip in terms of feeling of emotion, and really, really struggle because they feel like come from a big high to a big low. And I've always been someone that I feel like I'm coming home is another high for me. And I felt that for a short period of time, and that's because I made the rash decision to actually stop the sport altogether. So I didn't really have any thought process or anything. I just retained my gold, come home, and I thought, I'm done.
So you decided as soon as you got home?
Basically, yeah. And it was almost silly looking back, because it was a rash decision. And I've always thought, like, I love the sport, I want to do it for as long as I possibly can. And it just flicked in my mind. And I think it was almost this real kind of false sense of contentment, but almost a real kind of fear of failure to move forwards and think, like, the pressure of living up to that, the pressure I felt in Tokyo, that anything less than gold I'd have been seen as a failure. Like, the feeling I felt towards the sport, it had changed a little bit, and it felt a bit more job-like going into Tokyo. It just felt like I probably wasn't enjoying it as much as I used to.